thank you, Minister, for coming into the House. And the reason I asked you to come in today was concerning Nina Ballycroy, which is an Irish preschool, an Irish-speaking preschool in Ballycroy in County Mayo. Now, it was established in 2001 by a voluntary group of local parents, and there was no preschool services available at that time. But since then, it has become the heart of the community and has enjoyed enormous success and has served families very well throughout the years. But Nina Ballycroy works in partnership with the local government to ensure the long-term use of the all-national school, and as it happens, that was my all-national school, so you'll forgive me for being extra passionate about this particular project. But it was a derelict school, and then it was transformed into a vibrant, refurbished preschool and after-school service, and it has ensured a lifeline for the parish and its people. Now, you may know that Ballycroy covers a large geographical area of 210 square kilometres, hence the preschool and the after-school service offer a space for all of the children in the parish to connect and to play together. We have two excellent national schools in the parish. One was recently built and the other one recently refurbished. And the funding for this, for the preschool, falls under the Department of Children, obviously, and Youth Affairs. But it inhibits the sustainability of services, because the current funding model is, if one system is not equitable. The DCYA is funded through a set capitation. Now, the current system benefits services where the population is high, and as such, the numbers going to early school facilities are high also. But increases in the capitation grant is of course welcome. However, it doesn't address the issues for rural services. So it may serve to make the services with the higher numbers better off, but it doesn't serve areas such as Ballycroy. And within the context of the Rural Action Plan, it explicitly says how important it is to regenerate these areas and to have vibrant services in these areas. But as such, early years services cannot access funding through CLOR or RAPID, and that is the key to it. And something needs to be done. It needs to be reviewed so that the DCYA, together with CLOR, could jointly fund rural services, such as the Nina in Ballycroy, and that they could make an application on the grounds of their rural location and their population decline, because otherwise the future of Nina Ballycroy is threatened. But the problem is that the impact of this closing will mean that it will basically mean that there's no preschool service in the parish. And when you look at a parish like Ballycroy, you have a parish where there has been investment. There's been huge investment in the National Park there and in other facilities, and it's along the Wild Atlantic Way and all of that. And what I'm afraid of is that we will look at this snapshot in time and think, OK, under the current funding model, there isn't enough children there to sustain it or to make it viable. But what about next year and the year after and the year after? What about people who want to move, such as my own family, even, who want to move back into the parish and to live there and to raise their children there? There won't be a preschool service for them. And it's a matter of a right to a preschool service for these children. They have a right other places in the country. They need to have the same rights, need to be upheld in rural areas. And that's why the funding model has to be changed. So I have a submission that I will give you here afterwards, Minister, that you may look at and get your department to look at, to find ways that we can keep these facilities open. We've already had to fight for our post offices, to fight for our Garda stations, for all of those things, and people in rural Ireland are really tired of fighting, and we want a bit of flexibility to be able to address depopulation in rural areas and to be able to do everything that we can as communities to bring people back into these areas so we can have vibrant communities. Because can you imagine a parish without any young children, without any children? The heart and the soul go that it's like having a garden without flowers if we don't have children in these parishes. And in order to have the children there, we need to have the facilities. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Minister.
Thank you, Senator. Assisting families to access high-quality and affordable early learning and care and school-age childcare is a priority for me as a minister. Government investment in childcare has increased by an unprecedented 117% over the last 4 budgets, with 575 million euros having been allocated in 2019. That investment has provided for record numbers of children benefiting from my department's ELC and SAC programs over the course of 2018 and 2019. It's also provided for significant increases to the beneficiary payments due to childcare providers, including a 7% increase to ECHI in 2018, while targeted childcare supports provided under the Community Childcare Subvention Scheme and the Training and Employment Childcare Scheme were enhanced significantly in September of 2017. Those were up by some 50%. So I want to see investment in this area continue to increase significantly over the coming years. I'm therefore delighted that First Five, the whole of government strategy for babies, young children, and their families, commits to doubling investment over the next 10 years. The National Childcare Scheme will mark another significant milestone for early learning and care and school-age childcare in this country, creating an infrastructure which government can further increase investment in the services over the period. The Nainera Ballycroy is a small service in a remote and sparsely populated region of Mayo, ably described by you, Senator, and I understand that the service has been facing sustainability challenges due to declining registrations and that it is expecting a further decline in the demand in 2019-2020. So in order to provide early learning and care and school-age childcare services to as many children and families in as fair and equitable manner as possible, the current programs do not differentiate between the geographical locations of services. However, the First Five strategy commits to undertake research on the early learning and care and school-age childcare needs of parents who work atypical hours or live in rural communities, and develop recommendations for further action in this respect, and that will progress in the new year in 2020. In the meantime, I recognize fully the challenges that can be faced by community services, including those that are situated in rural or isolated locations, such as the Nainera Ballycroy. That's why my department has developed a strong case management system operated by PUBL, through which a dedicated team assists services facing challenges. This assistance can include expert guidance, a review of the financial situation of the service, and also an assessment of its operating and business model. And I understand that the service in question has already been in contact with public case management seeking assistance in relation to their specific case. I therefore urge the service to continue to engage with the public case management team, who will be able to provide these supports in partnership with Mayo County Childcare Committee. In addition to the non-financial supports I've already outlined, my department has also made a number of financial supports available to community services that are facing specific challenges to their ongoing sustainability. And this includes a once-off financial support for services in rural and isolated areas that suffer from falling or fluctuating demand. And these once-off financial supports are intended to assist services in transitioning to a sustainable operating model and may be accessed again through the PUBL case management following a standardized financial assessment process.
Thanks, Minister. Senator, if you want to supplement.
Thank you, Minister, for your reply, and I take some heart from it. The proof of the pudding, of course, will be in the eating in terms of if the Nainera remains open, or if it can, or if the situation can be reversed there. We need to have congruence between the rural development plans and the childcare plans to address situations like this. So I will work with yourself, with the department and with the committee, and I do want to commend the committee and the voluntary committees of all childcare facilities. These parents, and some of them have their own children actually who no longer need preschool, but they continue to work for the betterment of the communities. So some flexibility and some understanding of the challenges they are going through. I think all of these things can be worked through, and it's a solution I'm looking for rather than anything else. So, Gormagat.
Minister.
Just as quickly, I very much am grateful for your willingness to cooperate in that regard. It's really important that you raise the matter of the centre here. I am very committed to ensuring that there are sustainability for early learning centres, particularly in rural and isolated areas. And what I've described to you so far is our way of approaching it. And I do believe with the research for the future too that we will find a better way to do that. And I take your point about the that we need to have that match between the rural plan, the rural action plan, as well as what's happening in the childcare setting. And I am so impressed, may I say, the way you described that it was established by a group of people. Parents from the community originally, and that you transformed the original national school into that setting, so it demonstrates the great resilience and flexibility in terms of your own people, and I hope that you meet that same when they meet with my officials and also with Pablo as we move forward. So thanks, Senator.